Hello, Pisces, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of April 12th through the 18th. And during that time, for most of the week, we have a waning crescent moon, which is a time of stability and calm. We're coming to the end of our moon cycle, and it's a good time to be thoughtful and growth oriented for us to kind of self reflect on where we've been this past cycle, what worked, what didn't work. And start to make those changes because we're going to have the new moon that comes up on the 17th. And of course, that's a time for a fresh start, new beginnings, good time to start new projects, learn a new skill, or make new decisions. So we're going to look back on the things that, if everything you started during the last new moon was successful and worked, we're going to work on new things. If and maybe if there was something in there that didn't, we're going to make the kind of tweak and readjust and start that again, and maybe add other things to it as well. But keep that in mind as we move through the week with those moon energies. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Pisces. So, as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is that nothing will come of this situation. And I have to laugh because I saw that card also on the Aquarius reading. You saw me shuffle, and I think there was one other reading with that card. So that card's come out quite a few times for this series of readings. When that happens, I feel like I can see the connections between all the different signs. It's very interesting. So if you have an Aquarius around you, you might want to go cross-watch that video if you have some things going on together. So, and as I'm shuffling the tarot, my fun weekly reminder this week, Pisces, is that you keep a spiritual journal. A lot of times the things that we're learning we might forget, or it's just kind of fun to go through. I just went through mine last week, and it's kind of nice to go through and, oh, I remember learning that. I remember learning that and I forgot it. That's another thing I do. One of the things is to journal dreams that you're having. And, with me, I journal the ones that are that seem significant, like something odd or whatever happens in the dream, and I'll journal those, but not really the kind of just mundane dreams. And I was listening to a podcast last week, and the guy was talking about premonition dreams and how he does journal all of his dreams, and it was finding that they were coming true 1 year to the day later, which was crazy. So maybe journal all of them, the ones you can remember. So anyway, that's my fun weekly reminder. Keep a spiritual journal. And on that note, I will quit babbling. Let's get into this reading, Pisces. So April 12th through the 18th, nothing will come of this situation. Your energy right now is the Six of Pentacles. So you're kind of feeling like an outsider. I call this sometimes the comparison is the thief of joy card, especially in this day and age when we're comparing our lives to social media. If you're doing that, I know I stopped participating in all of those things many years ago because I just felt that's kind of a waste of time, right? So I'd rather do other things. But sometimes feeling like an outsider is because of that. Are you really an outsider, or are you just kind of comparing some things? But there must be something. You're feeling a little shut out of something, or feeling like an outsider. So we'll see what that might be for your current situation. Is Knight of Cups. So you're feeling very emotionally open, and you're feeling like, and so maybe if you're feeling like an outsider, with this could be maybe with friends, family, work people, whatever, maybe it's about you just making that first reach out and that first step towards, people just get busy. So, and maybe don't feel like, that you're being ignored or whatever, but maybe you just reach out. If you're thinking of that person, it's just as easy for you to reach out as it is for them, right? At the root of your situation, Seven of Swords. So, Seven of Swords can be kind of one of those cards. This can be about theft, hidden agenda. This can be about being a little bit crafty. I call this the poker face card because, at the root of this, your entire situation is, let's say that you had a lot of thoughts, but you didn't want everyone to know all of your thoughts. So you only said two of the things out of the seven, right? And you're just going to walk away with the rest of those thoughts. So sometimes you're, kind of limiting the information that you might want to tell people. Um, could be that. And if nothing will come of this situation, then they're none the wiser if you're only giving a little bit of info. I hope that makes sense. I think somebody is going to be like, oh, that totally makes sense to me. In your recent past, Four of Swords, some rest and meditation and some thought about maybe some of these things. Um, it doesn't look like the situation wasn't thought about. So whatever it is, it's kind of been on your mind, and maybe even through last week. Tarot readings are for a week, but life doesn't happen in a week. Of course, things are kind of ongoing, but I feel like this has maybe been on your mind, that you're feeling like an outsider, maybe because of some words that were exchanged, but you're trying to at least be emotionally open to healing and maybe rectifying whatever this thing might be. What's on your mind this week? Five of Cups. So you're a little sad about it. You're not thrilled about whatever this is going on. Again, feeling like an outsider. Were you left out of some information somewhere that you thought, wow, great, maybe I should have been in on that? Um, could be. If there's something like that resonating, drop me a comment, let me know. It helps me as a reader just to know, how especially readings like this that start off, they're kind of just all over the place, and it's hard for me to catch the story sometimes as a reader. But just let me know if anything's resonating or if it's making sense to you, and it might, as more cards come out, make more sense to me, I hope. What is just ahead of you this week? Knight of Wands. So Knight of Wands is about passion and action in the passion front. So this could be kind of an exchange of information, exchange of words, and exchange. You're trying to be open emotionally, but there could just be some sort of passionate exchange. This is fiery. Um, this is saying the thing when, when I was talking about holding back here with this card, this guy's not going to hold back. He's going to say what's on his mind. What's in your advice position here? The Moon. Pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to synchronicities, pay attention to your intuition about this entire situation. Again, you're sad about it, but nothing's going to come of it. I feel like whatever it is, it's just kind of like it's laying there like a dead fish. There's nothing you can do about it. It is the situation, whatever it is. But maybe you have some guidance with your intuition, with some dreams. Again, this could be some premonition thing or something that gets triggered in a dream too, that kind of helps you solve this problem. But it seems, again, nothing is going to come out of this situation, so let's not get too crazy about it. What is beyond your control this week? Yeah, more heartbreak. I mean, you're just, whatever it is, you're just kind of sad about the whole thing, and your hands are tied. I feel like there's just nothing you can do. You're holding back some information. There's probably some things that you want to say that you're just not going to say. It's only going to add fuel to whatever fire, that's going on. So that's fine. You can just kind of keep quiet about it. What is your secret desire? What are you trying to avoid? Death card. Yeah, you'd like to be done with whatever this situation is. You don't want to deal with it anymore. And you'd kind of just like to be done and wipe your hands of it. Whatever it is, you're done dealing with it. So whoever you are, you know what that is. In your outcome position, strength card with the 8. We have another 8 down here. No, that was a 6 and a 7. 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, you're just going right through it here. Nothing will come of this situation, whatever this is for you. And I feel like, okay, let's go back through the story again. So through some rest and meditation, you're feeling like an outsider, maybe because some words were exchanged, and maybe this isn't completely you holding on to some of these swords, but maybe even someone else, that you only had part of the information. You're kind of grieving over this whole situation, but you're also wanting to let it go. The death card is about an ending. It's about, I am done. And this will be your big question: is it your secret desire to just not deal with this anymore, or are you trying to avoid that? That'll be your big question of this week. Are you ready to be done with it? Because it seems like it's almost a recurring thing. You are strong enough to deal with it. That's in your outcome for sure. It's beyond your control to just kind of be upset about it. I mean, and here we are, same with that card. But the advice is to really follow your intuition. I feel like what the answer to this thing is inside. You know the answer to it, and it may not be it may not be logically the answer that like your mind wants to hear, but like your heart knows. What's hidden from you this week? is making any sort of movement. Yeah, I feel like, again, I feel like the situation just kind of lays there like a dead fish. There's no movement, there's no gathering of information to make a movement. It's kind of like it is what it is, and it's up to you to decide if you want to be done with it or not, or deal with it again, because I feel like it is recurring, but nothing's coming of it. It's like something happens and you maybe get your hopes up and then nothing happens. All right, let's get a final word here from the Soul Oracle deck. And, this is one of those readings that's, the story is hard for me to see, really. More the beginning of it. The ending's a little bit easier. The beginning's in the midst of it. But it's kind of like something you've dealt with over and over. Just you have to decide, are you going to deal with it more, or do you want to be done with it? Okay, final message from the Soul Oracle deck is to laugh at your demons. Okay, whatever that might be. It might be that you're like, here we are again. Here I am again, feeling like an outsider. Here I am, and I'm disappointed about it, and I'm upset about it, and I'm just done. I'm done dealing with it. So if you're done, be done. And sometimes that's easier said than done, but if you're done, do it. Just learn how to be done. Self-care for you this week is the card called Decision. Sometimes the best decision is no decision at all. Well, that was very helpful in this again, this wet fish. It's almost like again, that this is recurring. You've dealt with this before many times. Do you want to continue it, or you just want to quit? And I don't know if that means cutting someone off. Nothing will come of the situation. It's almost like nothing will come of it, but you keep getting presented with it over and over and over, and nothing ever happens. Nothing ever changes. So laugh at your demons, laugh at the fact that here you are again dealing with this. And then I think make the decision. This is your big question of the week right here is, do you want to continue confronting this over and over, or are you just going to be done and wash your hands of it and not confront it anymore? Because it's just, again, ongoing, recurring. Anyway, that's going to be totally up to you. So Pisces, thank you so much for being here this week. Again, this is an interesting reading. Take of it what you will. Hopefully there is something that you can use from it in a positive way in your life. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below. For some of you, this is going to make perfect sense. And this might, sometimes readings are, even though they're for the collective, again, leave on the table what's not resonating with you. But I feel like for some people, this entire situation will be completely, you're going to understand exactly what I'm talking about. If that's the case, again, drop me a comment. And if you like my reading style, hitting like and subscribe really helps my channel. And I appreciate that so much. So thank you in advance for doing that. And if you do that, it'll help you find me next week, where you can come back and we can see if this thing continues or if there's just a new energy for you. Maybe you do make a decision and make a change for next week. So Pisces, thank you so much for being here once again, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.